Now this is a video done by Dr. Don Petit of the International Space Station. So this is in space, and what he's doing here is a water bubble, and it is floating in the air. So this is it's not a vacuum, so it's space without gravity, and then he adds air into the water bubble. So you have a water bubble, a water sphere, and in it you have air. And then in a few moments he will add water in the air bubble. So you can see there are some little water balls, little droplets in the air bubble, and now we will add more water in it. So this is a bit what I want to explain, or what God used to form the earth. So here you see little bubbles, little spheres inside an air bubble. So this is the atmosphere, so to speak, and this is the deep. Now I'm going to stop the recording, and then I'm going to a 2D model as a drawing. Now this is the drawing, and this is a video capture of, or a photo from the previous video. This is a Photoshop, so it's not found in the video itself. This is the original a little bit, but the model goes as follows. This is the deep, so this is water, blue. The Spirit of God hovered over the deep, and the Bible does not say how big or extended the deep is, so it might be 1 light year across. So if this is the earth, the deep might be extended very far away, right? Or not, but the Bible doesn't say that. So let's use a little bit the experiment of the previous video. So this might be 1 light year across, and then somewhere here there is a little bubble that might form the earth, right? Now God creates an atmosphere, so there's a separation between the waters below and above the firmament. And in my own Bible, in the State Bible of the 17th century, the King James says firmament, but my Bible says expansion. So you can also, I interchange this, so it might be an expansion, but this white area is an atmosphere, so that might be this area here. So you have the deep, and then you have an atmosphere formed around water. So you don't have the little bubbles, but this whole area is one big bubble, and that is the basis of earth. Now God is expanding the heaven, and in the Bible heaven is space, right? So the black area here is space, and that's the vacuum, so there's no air, okay? And then suddenly and then the dry land appeared. So when space was expanding, then the dry land appeared, so the water moved to one area, and then the dry land appeared. Now I'm not going further. Of course it goes on with the trees and the plants and human beings, but this is the basic for the formation of the earth, right? Now I have to go to another video, because now I'm going to explain how a star is made, and then we have to go to water in a vacuum. Now this is an experiment done in a laboratory or something, and the person who did this, he added the vacuum, so you can see it is this is a vacuum, and the water is now extracting the air. So these are air bubbles, but later on, in a few moments, the water will start to vaporize. So, and that is important in my model if we are going to talk about the forming of a star, because stars are formed by gas. This is the general idea. So let's say it's gas. There is of course discussion. It's not that the sun is not only gas, or that it might also be plasma, but let's for now say it is a gas, because it might fit also in the model that I'm presenting. So I'm going to stop this video recording and then go to the model again. Now, how a star is made. The first steps of the formation of a star is the same as the Earth. So these are the same steps as here. But a star then is made out of gas. But if so, then you have water and a vacuum. But in the previous model, with the forming of the Earth, there is an atmosphere. Now, how does then gas stays in a sphere form? So then gravity is added, right? So this is of course symbolic, but let's say the red is gravity. Then you have to understand that if this is the vacuum, and this is now the atmosphere, then God removes the atmosphere, and now the water is in direct contact in the vacuum, or with the vacuum. So what is now happening? The water starts to vaporize, but because there's gravity, the gas stays in a sphere. And in a let's say when the Earth, right, let's say let the dry land appear, right, in the same way the sun gets a surface, because the sun has a surface. And then God says he made the stars also, and then he switched on the sun, right? So this is it is a naturalistic way, but it's semi naturalistic, because God is of course doing things, just like Dr. Petit was adding water into this bulb. So God is initially doing things to make things work. Now that I've explained the forming of the Earth and the stars, we might use this in a broader picture. So this is the deep, and this is the Earth, but at the same time as God created the Earth, God created the bubbles for, or the spheres for, the stars and the planets, right? So this is not to scale. So this is this is much more extended, and then the space was expanding, and then space encounters the spheres in atmospheres, right? And this is going on and on. Now, and that's so this, for example, is the planet Mars with an atmosphere, but this will be a sun or a star. right? It has no atmosphere, and these might be other planets, and where there is no gravity, the water might be formed into gas clouds, right? And so eventually you have planets with an atmosphere or planets with no atmosphere, and then you have stars, and then um, you have suns, right? So this is a bit of my explanation how the stars and the Earth might have been formed. Now there's a little detail that was shown in the video of Dr. Petit. It's about 17 minutes and 8 seconds, and there he he released a puff of air against the water sphere, and then the sphere started to shake, and because of that, the one droplet detached itself from the bigger sphere. Now this is an interesting idea. I don't say it has been done like that, but this is an interesting model how the moon might have been formed, right? So if we go back to the drawing, so this is the Earth in the previous drawings, but if we enlarge the atmosphere, right, and God breathes, he pushes some air against this water bubble, then the moon is separated, still inside the atmosphere, um, but then without having problems with a vacuum, the moon can also be formed with a surface, and then eventually maybe the atmosphere is reduced and the moon is now moving into the vacuum, so this might then be space, right? Um, so this might be uh, how the moon might have been formed. Of course, the moon might also have been formed just like the previous explanations.